Good morning. Good morning, Dora. Happy Monday. Uh, back to our week. So we had some people on the Zoom call yesterday, which was good. Everybody, it seemed like by the end, pretty much everybody had figured out how to get in there and how to get things hooked up. It seems like you can do it from your phone, but it's a little trickier. I think some of the controls are different. So you have to, um, when you're doing it from your laptop and from the desktop, I think a lot of times it automatically connects the audio and the video. And I don't think that's necessarily true with the phone. I think you have to figure out how to do that yourself. So just a little more complicated, but it's definitely doable. And we'll have another one on Wednesday at noon. If you're available for that, you're welcome to come. And hopefully we can find a time that would sort of work for everybody, and we can do it again. Um, Hi, Ruth, and hi, Susan. So hopefully, it was very nice to see everybody. You don't really forget what everybody looks like, but it's been a long time since we all were together in able to see one another. So it's nice, and I always I love Zoom because you get to see other people's backgrounds and see what they have, like what their little setup is, and a lot of times people are. Um, like maybe they're doing it from a table or something, so you don't really. But like Judy Sullivan had a huge, like a not huge, but I mean like a sort of a setup for Zoom, a background and everything. It looked pretty cool. Um, but it's funny because in fact there's a someone was telling me that there's like a website that rates people's Zoom backgrounds. So like, you're supposed to have something to look at behind you, but not too much, like not too busy. So there's like a whole sort of science of I guess staging your Zoom background, which is kind of fun. But this room, so this is sort of like my little yoga room, but it's also become like the Zoom room. Um, and I guess it will probably continue to be so for a while. My son has been interviewing for jobs, and most of that has been uh, online. Actually, all of it has been online now that I think about it. Um, Everything from, um, some like testing, like initial testing for the jobs, and then even the interviews were all online. So he used this room. I don't think he used this background though. I think he turned so he was facing the other way. So he had like a very plain background. Hi, Sandra. Um, so uh, so yeah, that's going to be a new thing. I guess everyone's going to have to locate a Zoom area in their home that will be appropriate um, for interactions. Where you don't mind what the background looks like for that. And as Judy was saying, there are a lot of Zoom yoga classes that you can take as well. So if you're interested in doing different yoga and different things, many places, even studios that had in-person classes, some of them still do, but many of them have switched to online, and for a lot of it's Zoom or something like that. And So if you have, a setup where you can have your mat down and all that, you could, do a class like that, which is nice. And it's kind of cool because if you are kind of into all this yoga stuff, some of these people. So they're literally people that I've been reading their books for years. And, they live on the other side of the country, sometimes the other side of the world. Now they're offering classes. And instead of having to travel there to participate in a class, you can just log on from the comfort of your home, which is pretty fabulous, I think. As a person living in Delaware, always, kind of on the edge of the edge of everything, it's pretty cool to be able to just log in and experience a class with someone that you've literally just like read their books for years, and they're so knowledgeable. It's pretty neat to be able to experience that. So make yourself a Zoom or other online friendly area. Um, and I liked what Judy had done. She just had like a screen folding, looked like maybe something you might see in like a Japanese restaurant, the kind of trifold screen. She had a couple of them behind her to kind of block off a little area, which is great. Um, and, there's lots of options. But I think it's going to be kind of with us for a while, and maybe with us forever. This idea that being able to do things virtually is pretty great, and not just as sort of a stopgap until things come back in person, but perhaps forever. Even when we're doing things more in person, being able to reach out to people in more remote areas um, is pretty cool. I like that. And it's certainly helpful for anyone who doesn't travel a lot or can't travel. They are just a computer screen away. So good stuff. All right. So I was thinking about this during class, during our chat yesterday, that this idea of change, right? Yoga is all about change, and accepting change, moving with the change. This is a great example of that. Um, in There's a lot of things that have changed, and not all of them are good, right? In fact, we try to highlight the good, but there's plenty that's not so good. And we could choose to look at that, look at what we've lost, look at what we are lacking now. Um, but in truth, there's always good and bad in change. Even when you do something that seems 100% positive change, there's always something that is you're leaving behind that may be a source of sadness or um, just unease, right? And we can choose to focus on that, or we can focus on what's good. Um, Either way, the change is coming. We can't avoid it. There's no reason to try to avoid it. It's just inevitable in all things. We talk about how nothing ever stays the same. We're either changing for the better or for the worse. Right? And I might say, um, when we are sort of unconscious about our change, we're moving towards the worse, right? We're taking what could be an opportunity for growth and instead just ignoring it and trying to pretend it's not happening, right? Just I'm not going to think about it. If I don't think about it, then it's not really happening, right? Um, so instead of avoiding thinking about how things are changing, um, give it some thought. See if you can think of ways in which what's been going on in the world lately has improved things for you, has maybe improved things for other people. Um, there is always what we call, right, a silver lining to everything, um, even things that seem very tragic um, in the larger part. So um, this isn't avoiding the tragic or the sad, right? But it's just shifting our focus. Um, we know, right? It's very easy to be aware of what's bad and what is, um, you know, a sad thing in the world. There's no shortage of people that want to tell you about that. um, those are the things that you're going to read about most, the things that are heartbreaking and very difficult for us to accept. So rather than dwell on those, let's move on to the good. Um, Again, it's your choice where you put your attention, especially in situations like this where we have this sort of worldwide crisis that's going on. Um, there is so much of this that's out of our control. The only thing that is within our control is how are we going to think about this? Are we going to look at some opportunities that this might create for us? Are we going to maybe take this time to reach out to other people and see if they can use a hand or some help? Or are we going to really suffer, on top of the pain? So in yoga, we say pain is uh, mandatory, right? It is inevitable. As an inhabitant of the world, inhabitant of this physical body, there is going to be pain, physical pain. Right? We know about that. Emotional pain, mental anguish, all of these things we are going to experience in one way or another. Um, but what is optional is suffering. So the difference there is pain is something that comes as a result of what's outside of you, right? Your interaction with the outside world, your relationships, your perception, right? I mean, physical trauma, that's definitely an outside influence. Um, Suffering is what we create ourselves as a result, a lot of times, of that outside influence. So we suffer when we go over and over these things in our head, when we rehash the difficult situation, when we go over that thing that we said to someone and we sort of just think about it a lot and let it just kind of roll through your head. I should have said this. Why didn't I say this instead? Either regret, right, that you said something maybe in anger that you didn't mean to, or some sense of that you didn't speak your truth, that you should have been more direct or more open about what was happening. Instead, you just kind of let it go. So rather than suffer, um, we can choose to do better, choose to um, learn that, right? So we learn that lesson. Regret teaches us, hey, don't speak in anger, right? Hold your tongue until you're ready to really speak in a way that is um, productive and that is not going to cause regret. Um, the other sense of not speaking your truth, right? Don't When you feel that, it's a terrible feeling, right? That in fact for most people that's a real um, those are the things that stick with you, that you kind of marinate in your brain, and you think, why didn't I do this? I should have said that. Should have, you know. And those are the things too that cause us problem down the line, right? If we're not saying what we mean, how can we ever expect to be able to, have people treat you in the way that you want them to treat you, or to order your life in the way you want it to be, if you're constantly saying something different? So that the lesson we learn there when that happens to us is, speak your truth. Don't be afraid to tell people what you need and what you're willing to put up with. Um, we say, right, you teach people how to treat you. Right? Um, when you accept other people's poor treatment, you're showing them that that's okay. Right? So don't allow that. Um, if you feel like that's happening, just, put a stop to it. Speak up. Say, nope, not going to do that anymore. Um, that will, you still will have the pain maybe of going through that experience where someone is being unkind or um, thoughtless in their actions towards you, but you won't have the suffering, which comes from the regret and the understanding that you play a part in all of these things. Good morning, Judy. Judy, I was talking about your beautiful Zoom background and how you too can have that if you set up some screens. Um, so let's work on that with our practice. So pain, right? There might be, I hope there's not much pain, and there'll be a teeny bit of pain with your yoga practice if, something's stiff or you're trying to move around. And then also there's that idea of uh, getting to the yoga mat, right? Doing um, the work. That can be painful. It can feel painful, right? Um, kind of dragging yourself to the mat. And I think um, at this time when things are very kind of up in the air, and there are a lot of times not very, we aren't, we're able, right, to not do a lot of things right now. We can avoid things. We can not deal with some of the stuff that's going on. Dragging yourself to confront some of these things, to get on the mat, to work even when we don't feel like it. There's a certain, pain level in that. But again, it's not the kind of pain that lingers with you. And it's a good kind of pain because we're going to feel good about it afterwards, right? I've never known anyone to go through a yoga practice or to work on doing some of these things and be like, oh yeah, I wish I hadn't done that, right? Oh gosh, I'm being really consistent with my practice. What a terrible thing that is. No, everybody feels great when they do that. So um, getting into that kind of a habit can really set the tone for the rest of the day, which is why I like doing a morning practice. I think it kind of sets you up for making maybe some good choices for the rest of the day, hopefully. But again, not every day is going to work like that. But as we move through practice, see if you can focus on um, keeping that mind here and not sort of zipping off into other places. Um, and know that we are um, if we're living in the world, there are going to be difficult times. There's going to be times when we are having pain, when we are suffering. But that we can minimize that, right? And that's our choice. Are we going to look to um, the sad and the tragic? Are we going to live in there? Are we going to reinforce that with everything we read and see and think about? Or are we going to turn to the light and try to focus on the positive and what we can do to help and to improve? Both things are equally valid. Both things are really happening. We aren't avoiding, we aren't pretending uh, that we live in this like bubble where nothing happens. We're just choosing which one is going to be our focus. Um, so choose wisely. And let's do a practice. All right, so we're sitting up tall. There's these little buckwheat things all over my floor. I gotta sweep in here. I didn't realize I wonder if I have a hole. I know the zipper was down, but I wonder if there's a hole in that meditation thing. I'll have to check it out. All right, sitting up tall, relax the shoulders. Keep breathing. Another breath, and then chin down toward the chest. Relax the shoulders, head hangs down. And then lifting up the head, keep lifting. Chin is lifting up. Head back to center, take a breath. Moving the head to the right. Again, don't force this. Don't try to push too far. Back up and moving left. So the neck and the connection between the neck and the shoulders is, kind of a fragile area at times, and there's a lot of stuff going on there. It's easy to kind of pinch things. So we never want to force it. We're always trying to just move within our range and slowly. So drop the head down, and then we're moving around. Big circle. Moving a couple times around. And then reversing. And back to your center. Lean forward here, and I'm going to bring the arms out in front. Walk the hands back, fingertips pointing away from the body. The hands are set slightly behind you. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Gaze up. And back to center. Arms wide. Take a deep breath. Exhale, hands together. Inhale, arms wide. Exhale, bringing hands together. Inhale, arms wide. Exhale, hands together. Interlace the fingers, lift the arms, gaze up. And then bring the arms down by your side. Inhale, lift. And lower. Lift. And lower. Lift the shoulders, roll back. And forward. Goalpost arms. Press the palms toward the front. Take a deep breath. And then we're just turning the shoulders to the right. Back to center. Take a breath in. On the exhale, turning to the left. Back to center. Bring the arms down by your side. We're going to interlace the fingers behind the back. Set the hands down behind you, gazing up. And then leaning forward, we'll start lifting up. Maybe if you feel like it, you don't have to, but you could keep the hands down. And then back up. Release the arms out to your side. And we're going to fold forward again. And back up. Tabletop. Moving back into child's pose. Sitting on the heels. And you can have knees together or knees apart. Most people choose one or the other, like they're more comfortable one way or the other. So mix it up. Don't always stick with exactly the same way of doing it. Right? It's good to try different things, not just because of the different way that they work the body, but you may be surprised, right? If you haven't done it with wide knees for a while and you try it today, you may find that it's easier or something about your practice has changed so that you have you're experiencing different sensations in that. Moving back up, tabletop. We're going to lift the right arm high and then bringing it under the left, setting down on the shoulder or the upper arm. Just twisting that upper body. You might leave the hand on the mat, left hand on the mat near you, or you could extend the arm out. Your choice. Then make your way back up. Tabletop, we're lifting the right arm again. Set it down. Left arm lifts. And finding that position on the left side. And breathe. Moving back up. Lift the left arm. And we're back to tabletop. Few sets of cat-cow here, just to loosen up through that lower spine, lifting. Inhale, dropping the belly, lifting on the exhale. Coming back to your neutral spine, flip the toes, lift up, downward dog. Walk your hands up. Be in your fold for a few breaths. And we might kind of work through the hips, bending one knee and then the other, but keep the heels on the mat. So it's a very small movement. And then rising up slowly. Standing tall, deep breath in and out. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, left foot steps back. Drop your knee, arms overhead. Hands to center. Take a breath, and then we're twisting to the right. Moving your shoulders. You could hook the elbow here to kind of give you something to press against, or you could bring the hand down, pull that right shoulder back, twist. Coming back to center. Right hand down by the foot. Lift the left arm. Both hands down to the mat. Moving into a little lizard. Whatever you want to do here. The more you lean into the hand, the more intense this is. But it's your choice how far you want to go. And then we're walking the hands back, straightening out the right leg. Maybe folding over. And then set the foot back down. Back foot steps to the front. Fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Lift on the inhale, arms overhead. Back to mountain. Breath in, breath out. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, we're stepping back with the right. Drop the knee, arms overhead. Hands to center. Take a breath, and then we're moving to the left. Same thing with the elbow, or maybe bring the hand down, pulling left shoulder back. Back to center. Left hand down by the foot, right arm lifts. Both hands down. We're kind of walking the hands, I should say, into place for this. Breathe. Walk the hands back. We're straightening out the left leg and then maybe folding over. Set your foot down. Back foot steps up to the front. Fold. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift high. And then hands back down by your side. Deep breath in and out. We're going to turn, facing the side. Feet are wide, however wide you want. It doesn't have to be super wide. Hands at the waist, deep breath. Fold forward. You can keep the hands at the waist or you can bring them down. Your choice. Moving back up. Use that strength in the legs. Take a breath. Let's walk the feet in, about shoulder width for your squat. Feet are either pointing straight ahead or you might have them out a little bit to the side. Your choice, whatever works best for you. Bring hands together, take a deep breath, then bend the knees. We're lowering down. Nice and upright if you are all the way down here. And back up. Release the hands. Bring the feet together, bicycle things out a little bit. And then we're going to do a couple balance. From mountain, lift up that right knee. So the foot is flexed. We're gazing out. Nice strong standing leg and lifted leg. And set it down, switch sides. So we're standing on the right, lifting up the left. Steady. And back down again, bicycle legs. And we're going to step out to warrior three. So give yourself a little room in front. Hands to center, take a breath. And then as you exhale, we're stepping out with the left foot. It doesn't have to be a big step. We're just enough to kind of shift where we are. And then we're lifting that back leg as we're leaning forward. You can bring the hands out if that helps you with balance. Just remember, you're trying to kind of equalize that. So we're lifting the leg about as much as we're leaning forward. You'll just have to kind of feel your way with that. And then set the foot back down. Ready for the other side. Take a breath. Exhaling, we are stepping forward with the right. Shifting the weight over into that right side. And then lifting up. And breathe. And if you step out of it, that's fine. Just come back. Give it another try. And breathe. And then setting the foot down, we'll step the back foot up to the front, arms overhead. Back to mountain. Breath in and breath out. Come on up, top of the mat. Lift the arms overhead. Fold on your exhale. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, stepping back, downward dog. Inhale, move forward, high plank, and then lower down. Arms by your side, head turns right. Relax. Bring your head back to center. We're going to have arms out in front, resting one forearm on top of the other. And then set the forehead down on the arms. We're going to keep the arms and the head kind of attached together. And then we'll start lifting them up as one unit, arms and head and chest, and then lift the legs as well. Lower down, hands by your side again, head turns left. Head back to center. And let's set up for Cobra. So hands are about chest height. Elbows squeeze back close to the body. Tops of the feet rest on the mat. And then we're lifting up head and chest. Lift the arms. Lift the hands. And lower down. You can bring the arms out in front. Maybe bring the feet a little wider on the mat. Toes in, heels out, if that feels comfortable. Breathe. And then moving back up. Tabletop, child's pose. Tabletop, downward dog. And step the feet up. Come to a seat. Bring soles of the feet together. Take a deep breath. Fold forward. Come on back up. And we're going to kind of move the hip around a little bit here. So a couple ways to do this, right? You can take a hold of the foot and the knee, right? If you have more flexibility, you might bring this foot into the elbow, inside the elbow, and you can kind of wrap the arm around. And then we're just going to rock back and forth. So either here or here. It might be down here. I mean, wherever you are, whatever you got here is fine. Okay, and what we're really, we're trying to focus on the back, right? Not so much bringing this foot across, but coming back, right? So you'll feel that. It's harder to bring that knee back. That's really where the, it sort of sticks, right? The sticking point, shall we say. All right, set it back down. Let's switch sides. Same thing, trying whichever way works for you. We're just trying to bring that foot in as close as you can to the body. Right? And then we're going to set it back down. And let's do feet together again. Take a deep breath in, fold forward. So this pose, we always do this pose. This pose is called Supta Baddha Konasana, which sounds very complicated, but the name for most of the poses, if they aren't like an animal name, they mean exactly what they mean. So Supta Baddha Konasana means bound ankle pose, right? So the idea is, you've got your ankles are stationary here, right? I think I'm getting that name wrong, but I'm going to check. I think I'm missing something on that, but so it says basically, it says exactly what it is. So there are other ones where it's a very long and complicated sounding name, but it basically means extended head to knee pose, or wide leg forward fold. So pretty straightforward. It's not as complicated as it seems. It's just that the language is unfamiliar. And then come on back up. Legs out in front. Take a deep breath. Arms overhead. Fold forward. Coming back up. Bend the knees. And then we're lowering down. We're rocking back. So we're resting on the mat. And let's bring the knees together and the feet to the outer edges of the mat. Goalpost arms or arms out to a T. Take a breath. And then we're lowering both knees over to the right. And you can go as much with this as you want. You don't have to go, make it a big twist. It can be a small one if you feel like that's going to work for you better today. Bringing the knees back to center, and then this time moving to the left. Back to center. Let's bring the soles of the feet together, knees apart. Relax here for a few breaths. And then you can move into Shavasana here. Maybe just extend the legs out if you want, or you could keep the soles of the feet together if that is helpful for you. Finding a place where you can be relaxed. So the key thing about Shavasana is that we want to find that deep relaxation. So whatever you need to do to get your body in a place where you can feel relaxed is great. Deep breath, in and out. So we feel pain because we are human, because we are in this physical body, having these physical relationships with other bodies. And we feel pain because we have a mind, because we have emotions, right? These things can cause us pain. They also cause us, joy, but there is certainly pain. The suffering, right? Suffering is a production of our own minds, and it is a result of our attachment, right? If we were truly at peace with the self, with our eternal nature, that undying spark, knowing it in everyone around us, everything around us, changes would be easy, right? It would just be moving into a new thing. When we have that eternal connection, it is much easier, right, to accept how things move, that things will change. We don't get stuck with our fingers holding on tight to what was. And if you think about it, right, it makes sense. A lot of our attachment is based on fear of change, fear of what's coming. Right? We are happy now. We don't know what might happen next, so we're afraid. We don't want to move through there. We might lose what makes us happy. Or we're unhappy now. And sometimes we're even afraid to lose that because our fear of what comes next is greater, right? The devil you know is better than the devil you don't know, right? That is a common saying, right? But in truth, there's no devil. And what you know is just as fleeting as what you don't know. The fact that you are in this space, in this time, and you're enjoying it is great. But you're wrong to think that clinging to it will make it stay. It won't. It's going to move. It's going to change. By loosening our attachment, by focusing more on the eternal self. Put your faith there. Put your strength there. Instead of clinging so tight to the people and the things and the situations that you are experiencing now. Let things change. Let things go. Let new things come to you. Be ready. And the best way to be ready is to put your faith, put your focus on that eternal, on the self. It will give you strength. It will give you comfort. It will help you weather all changes because it is eternal, and it never changes. Moving a bit now. Pardon me. Fingers and toes, hands and feet. When you are ready, making your way up to a seat. Or, maybe staying on the mat if you want, because we're going to move into some meditation, which, there's no reason you can't do that on your mat, except you might fall asleep, but that's okay if you do. So if you want, getting comfortable, you could sit on your mat, but if you've got a cushion, it's great. You could sit on a block. Those are comfortable. You could get up and get into a chair. That's fine too. Many different ways to do meditation. The main thing is to find a place where you feel nice and upright, or if you're laying down, that's fine too, but you want to be nice and open through the chest. So laying down, we'll do that, also sitting nice and upright. So shoulders relaxed, breathing, kind of a natural breath, but making sure that you have that relaxed body. The body posture should be nice and relaxed. Hands can be palms up, resting on your knees, together, resting in your lap. If that doesn't work for you, doesn't feel good on your wrists or whatever, don't worry about it. Whatever position you do. We say hands up to receive, right? So we are looking to receive from the universe. But it's okay if you don't feel comfortable doing that. Eyes are closed, taking a few deep breaths. I'm going to start this and got a little timer going. You'll hear 1 bell to begin, 3 bells to end. Focusing on the space between the thoughts. When you're ready, opening the eyes, coming back to that awareness. So when I was meditating, it made me think about, so if you've ever tried to do something, I was going to say read a book, but I don't think read a book is maybe the right analogy, because with reading a book, you're really trying to focus on taking in some information, some input. But let's say something simple you were trying to do. I don't know what. Maybe you were knitting. If you ever knit or sew or something simple that you're doing with your hands, it doesn't require a lot of work, but you're trying to focus a little bit, and someone's trying to talk to you. Right? So someone's speaking to you, or maybe you even have the television going or something that is just like a noise kind of in the background. So you might be aware of that noise, but we aren't focusing on it. You are focusing on what's right here. And it's kind of the same way with meditation. We're aware of the sounds and the thoughts and stuff in our head, but we aren't engaging with them. We are keeping our focus right here on our little project. And that's maybe a helpful way to think about it. We're focusing, again, like those breaks between the movement of the thought. That's where we go. Okay. Hooray. Happy Monday. Good class. And I'll be back Tuesday. This week, I'm done with my class on Wednesday, so we'll have class every day this week. And then I am going to send out an invitation for that noon class, noon Zoom call on Wednesday. We'll see how that goes. All right. Enjoy your day. Do something fun, and see how that goes. All right. I'll be back tomorrow.